Investor Intelligence provides general information only. You should consider seeking independent advice to see how this information relates to your unique circumstances. Please refer to the terms and conditions available at investorintelligence.com.au for more.
Guys, welcome to this bonus episode of Investor Intelligence, brought to you by the team at the Property Mentors. It's your weekly podcast for all things investment. So the first Tuesday of every month we know is the day that the RBA announces their latest interest rate announcement. So today we just want to do a little bit of a recap on that, what our thoughts are. So today I've got joining me Aaron Best, who's our Member Experience Director at the Property Mentors. Welcome, Aaron.
Thank you for having me back.
Of course. And I've also got Property Mentor Pat de Ruiter joining me as well.
Good to be back.
So Aaron, what is the Reserve Bank of Australia's latest decision on interest rates and what factors influenced their decision this time?
So this month they have elected to leave the cash rate on hold. So it's still sitting at 3.6%. Mm-hmm. This is the first time in 10 decisions that they have elected not to increase the cash rate. So it's almost a full year of interest rate rises. The factors that Philip Lowe, the governor for the Reserve Bank of Australia, has given is that they are conscious of the fact that the interest rate rises that have occurred are having an impact on Australians and people who have mortgages. And they're also aware that the changes that they make are slow to have an effect. So what they have come out and said is that they're going to put a pause this month to give the previous rises the opportunity to have an impact. And further to that, they have also seen that inflation in Australia, they believe, has peaked. So we're hoping that the inflationary rate, which we want to be in around a 2 to 3% and was up at around 7% at its peak, we want to see that come down, and they believe that we are on the downward trend to see it reach that 2 to 3% again around mid-2025.
So as two people who are working in this industry sort of day in, day out, what do we make of this decision?
Well, over the last 10 rate rises, we have seen a lot of people sitting on the sidelines and investor confidence dropping. Mm-hmm. There are still people investing, but what we could potentially see moving forward is investor confidence growing again. And what we could see is more competition now entering the market.
Yeah, so the decision that the RBA has made to wait and see what happens over the next month is really telling of exactly how precarious this sort of economic monetary policy is. The RBA have said that we are, as I mentioned, on target or trying to reach that inflationary target by mid-2025. But if they go too hard too soon or they go too soft too soon, there is a chance that we could overshoot that target and inflation would go down, which is not good for the economy, just as much as too much inflation is not good for the economy. So it's really important that we are really careful about what we do with rate rises. They could continue to put rates up and obviously that would curb people's spending and that would drive inflation down. But if they do it too much too quickly, people are going to stop spending too much, inflation will drop too quickly, and we'll miss that target window of that 2 to 3%.
So we've mentioned investor confidence. Is there anything else that investors should be mindful of at the moment?
Well, here at the Property Mentors, we work with our members through our 3 stages of readiness. So our educational readiness, our emotional readiness, and our financial readiness. Due to these rate rises and the uncertain times that we're in, your emotional readiness could potentially have taken a hit. So now is a great time to revisit your long-term goals and ensure that any knocks to your emotional readiness in the wake of the previous year's rate rises isn't going to have a lasting impact on your overall property strategy.
Yeah, and period where economic uncertainty still remains quite high, it's important to make sure that things like interest rate rises, which can go up and down or stay the same at any given point, these short-term fluctuations are not going to have a lasting impact on your long-term goals.
Great. So just to quickly wrap up, what would be your advice to any investors in light of this hold?
I would take this time as a chance to reassess your long-term goals and explore what options you may have moving forward and potentially getting in before everyone else comes off the sidelines.
Yeah, I agree. As I mentioned before, property is a long-term strategy, and it's important to make sure that you are focused on long-term goals and a long-term vision. So you're not allowing things like interest rates to dictate what your long-term strategy is going to be, because you don't know what they're going to do in 5, 10 or 15 years, but you want to hold a property for that long.
Mm-hmm. Great. Appreciate your time, Aaron and Pat.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for having me back.